Big Centennial.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Xbox. I am your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom. It's Newf Nukem in the room, getting ready to go. We've got a fantastic panel, as always, and we're going to have some good topics, and can't wait to get into it. Here we are, The Pinnacle, episode number 10. Who would have thought? Sometimes it only goes a couple episodes. Sometimes you end up in the hundreds. But either which way, it's a milestone for us. I am very proud and honored to be with this amazing panel who have honestly surprised the living devil out of me. Since, because we came together, most of us here have never really podcasted together. We didn't know how this would gel or vibe. But I can honestly say that 10 episodes in, the great comments, the great stuff that I see from my friends and peers and people in this community is there's a lot of support for this. They like where we're going with it. It's an Xbox centric podcast, but it's the vibe that we bring. We're not here to be fanboys and trolls and feeding console or BS constantly. We'll have some things sure that can be hotly contested and debated, but that's part of a great podcast sometimes too. Sometimes you have to go after certain topics, and I love to see sometimes that great difference of opinion. We will continue to have them. Hopefully, it's those great debates. So let's get right into the show and let's announce our panel. And we'll start off, of course, on my screen. It is my right, or at least to me, it's to my right, but on the screen, it's to the left. So let's go with Mr. Cerebral Paul.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, 10 lovely years of Good Morning Xbox. Wait, weeks. I'm sorry. It just felt like 10 years. I don't know where that happened. I hope everybody's having a good day. Everybody, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show. Let's get this thing rolling.
Absolutely, yes. And Paul knows all about the rolling, so he rolls into this one. And speaking of Paul, great community game night last night, guys. Again, shout out to Tushy, Animated Evil, all of the crew from the UK who carried over and came over to ours last night. We played golf with friends, a wacky little crazy little golf fun game and frustrating all at the same time. And then we played some Doom 2016 multiplayer, and that was an absolute blast. So thanks to everybody who came out. We hope to see more of you guys. Those of you who've never been participated, you should definitely come out and check them out because they're a lot of fun. Let's get over to Coolcat Terri. She's perfect.
Gosh. Hey everybody, I'm happy to see you all here. We're hoping to have another fantastic show today. So let's have some fun.
We will have fun. Dropping down to the man with the fantastic green Xbox hat is Mr. Axel1324. Good morning. How are you? Welcome back.
Good morning, everybody. 10 episodes. This is it. We made it to at least 10.
We have.
And, it's been a really good experience for me with the chat and just the friends I'm making on Xbox Live. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody. And remember, chat, you guys are the real MVP of the show.
They are. Thanks for hanging out with us for 10 episodes. And a man who almost missed one of our episodes due to a little bike crash. It sidelined him a little bit. He's got the little nasty patch on his arm to prove it. But welcome back, Mrs. Scrub Nurse. How are you doing this morning? And again, we are so happy that, like I said, you're part of this journey with us.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Newf. Here to have fun. We made it 10 episodes and they haven't taken us off the air yet. I had to do some personal triage. Me and a tree had a date last week, but I'm doing good. I'm happy, excited, talk about these topics. Happy to see everybody in the chat. I will definitely be in there with you and let's have some fun. Let's talk some Xbox news.
You ran into a tree?
The tree jumped out at him. Okay, the tree jumped out at him.
Hold on. How old are you again?
I'm 40, but I'm trying to be off-road BMX biker, to get exercise, right?
Right.
And
but I saw your bike. It's not an off-road bike.
No, it's a gravel bike, so it's made for road and you can do dirt. And I hit the dirt. So it's one of those things.
So did you run into the tree because you took the training wheels off and you had trouble balancing?
Here's a tip: don't avoid the puddles. Okay, I went off the trail to avoid this deep pool of water that I was like, that's too deep to run the bike through. I went around and I hit a rut, and it sent me, straight into a tree, maybe 10 feet away. I moved the bike out the way, but it clipped my shoulder. I was going maybe about almost 20 miles an hour. So it was fun. My ribs enjoyed it. My shoulders good.
Yeah, that tree told me that you had some dirty things to say to it afterwards. I guess the tree told me, you had some you said some naughty things.
Oh yeah, and I definitely looked to make sure nobody else was around. The bike is okay. I'm okay.
Keeper Grant is hitting on you. Look at the emojis he put out.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. George of the Jungle. Watch out for that tree.
First super chat of the morning coming in from one of our obviously most loyal viewers, followers, and that is the one, the only, the amazing Doggy Dog, who jumps in here first thing in the morning. He is up and ready to go. He says, good morning, all. Episode 10, here's to 1,000 more. Well, thank you, Doggy Dog. Appreciate your support. Episode 1, episode 10, and we hope that you're still here when we get to 1,000 more. Let's cross our fingers and hope we get that far.
I like that you refer to Doggy Dog as loyal. He's a loyal companion.
Loyal companion. Yes. How fitting.
The show's best friend.
The show's best friend. Also a good friend of the show, Casket Repair, is in the house. How are you this morning? We've got General Spartan here with us. The one, the only, the amazing friend of the show, Dreadpool, is in the house. Good morning, Dread. We've got who else is here right now? We got looks like some new Jesse Darby's here. Jesse Darby, thanks for being part of Gaming After Dark last week. It was a lot of fun having you there. Sorry things didn't go so well against Titan Drago in the Drago's corner, but maybe you'll have a rematch. We got Lady Foxfire, who graces with her presence, and perhaps one of these days I'll coerce her to get on the show with us. She's just a fantastic person, and I definitely think for this particular podcast she'd fit in well on this one. So we got Back from the Dead, who was part of Community Game Night last night. We had a lot of fun. Yes, and definitely lots of curse words from Back last night as his balls were all over the place. So the Furious One is here. What's going on? Welcome. Caper Grant is in the house. Caper also a big part of that Community Game Night. It's been a consistent player. Shane Tomlin, how are you this morning? Glad you could be here. Thanks, guys. Your Wicked Hot is in the house. I knew we could smell some smoke coming up in here. It was getting hot. Who else? We got Chase Jones makes his appearance in the chat. What's going on, Chase? My good buddy Caper is back again. He's dropping another super chat. He says, morning all, $10. Thank you, Caper Grant. Appreciate it, man. All right, let's get right down to it.
We're 20 people in, and we've been on the air for 2 minutes, dude. This is we're on. This is fire. This is great.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we were also 8 minutes starting late, so.
Well, still, I'm trying to get
Yes, Shaddai can't make it today. He sends his regards to everybody. He says hello. Wishes is a great show. It's really sad that he couldn't make it for episode number 10, but unfortunately, he had a very late night, and he's just really, really I guess, under it, so to speak. So he won't be here, but he'll be back again next week. It's gonna be good. Gonna be a good time, guys. It's gonna be a good time. Alrighty, so let's get into our topics for the morning, and don't forget we'll have our usual segments. And this week we are now that we've gotten through all the community spotlights, we are back to mine. So I will do that about midway through the show, and I've got a fantastic person lined up who I think is already in the chat already. So that's good. Nobody knows who it is but me, but anyway, I'll get to that in just a bit. Let's get right down to it. And Dead Space makes its return. Sure, people have probably heard about it already. Not the sequel that we'd hoped for, but at least a step in the right direction. It is a remake being done by EA Motive Studio. That's right, a remake, not a remaster, not just an upres, but a remake, a new build of the engine on DICE, or the DICE's Frostbite engine. Obviously, it's a beloved franchise by many. Is one of the pinnacle franchise in the space horror genre. How do you guys feel about this? We can take an open panel here because I know not everybody loves Dead Space. I think it's a cool franchise. It's definitely one that has a great, it has a great story, great atmosphere. I think it's great that it's coming back. So who wants to kick it off and talk about the return of Dead Space? And do you think that, where the franchise goes or how it is perceived in the future largely depends on how well this remake gets received by the public? Anybody?
Well, I'm excited for it to come back. It's a game that I kind of dabble with, especially the first one and the second one. This will be a good chance to go through. We can put our new technology graphics that we want to put in with the game. If there's anything, sometimes their developers can be working on a game and there's stuff they want to put in the game, but it just won't work with the technology that they have, or maybe the time crunch to get it in. So this might be a good chance to do that, work on any story beats that they couldn't do the last time, but also work with any controller, not issues, but we've known how controllers have evolved through time, and you can put some things in here, just little tweaks just to make the game better. We need some more stuff, as we can see that the horror genre, sci-fi has been an uptake lately, especially with the different games that are coming out. So I think it's worth it. I always like to say any game that's been out for almost a whole generation. I'm not talking about a console generation, but I'm talking about years as far as gamers. I think we can do remakes for it to let a whole nother generation of players be able to get a chance to get their hands on the game. And then also for us who were around the first time it came, just to relive that, but to have it upgraded to the graphics we have now, because there's plenty of games. I know we all have our favorite game that we played 20 years ago, but we haven't picked it up. And then if we go back, a lot of the memories of how great it looked and how fun, sometimes it's like, ooh, that didn't look so great. It didn't play like I remember. So I think them remaking the game is a great move.
Well said. Summed it up in a perfect little package. Who wants to jump in next? Any big Dead Space heads in here?
Yeah. I agree with that. I'll have you know, with the first Dead Space game, I haven't been able to get past like chapter 4, the part where you have to take the asteroid out before they take you out. Mm-hmm. And there's like no accessibility adjustments for the controls or anything in the original game. So I'm hoping that, and I've actually sent them a message on Twitter, both Activision and Motive directly, and said, hey, while you're in there, do this for me, please.
Yep.
And not just for me, but for everybody else, because I almost completed Dead Space 2. There were some hard parts there, but not like that asteroid thing. So I enjoyed the idea of the series and the game, but it would be nice to be able to play that first story through. Yeah.
Nice. So accessibility is a big thing, and let's hope they can't add it. Obviously, that's I think we will see definitely more options. It seems to be more of a trend right now. Who else wants to jump in here on this?
So just let me say this. I don't want to consider accessibility a trend. I want to consider it the normal thing at this point.
Right. But we have seen more games certainly do that. Everything from the colorblind aspect to.
Yeah. To me, the word trend sounds like a temporary thing. So,
No, you're right. We're right. Bad choice of wording on my behalf. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you're saying. But we're starting to see it more frequently, and let's hope it becomes the norm and not the exception. Yep. I guess that's kind of what I was saying or trying to say.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to be finicky.
That's all right. Paul's just making sure I'm awake this morning. He'll bust my balls or I screw up. There you go. Awesome stuff. Axel or Terry, is this something? I mean, because we've talked about this before, and that's the other side too. Is this a good thing for the industry? Is it a bad thing for the industry? Because we are seeing a lot more of these games, and we're not talking, and this I guess is where the gray area is like, we're not talking games that were really rough around the edges that could have been perceived or certainly could have been accepted by a larger audience if they had come out during a generation where game engines were more advanced, controls were more advanced. Like, you could basically take any game from the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, N64 era and basically remake it, and it'd be very welcome, because a lot of those games, while they were good back in the day, they're very crude now. It's like, I tell people about GoldenEye, and it's one of those big arguments that people always go, oh, GoldenEye 64, man, that game is legend. Yeah, it was back in 2000. What was it, 6, 7, whenever it came out, or whatever, or 1997. 97.
I was gonna say, it's a lot earlier than that.
That game didn't age well. That game did not age well.
You say it for yourself. I love GoldenEye. It aged the way a 64-bit game should age.
And exactly, we all love the game, but if you go back today and you play it, not only are the graphics extremely crude, but the play control, playing with the one stick and using your directional buttons to turn was so archaic. I mean, back then you didn't. That was the best we had, and we got used to that. And we're like, yeah, but now. I mean, if you even play Conquer on the N64 and then play the live and reloaded version from the Xbox, and what a huge difference that was, not only graphically, but camera-wise and control-wise. They improved so much about that game to make it, and it actually looks good today. That's the cool thing. Conquer Live and Reloaded, it is part of the back compat. Apparently, I think you can get it on Games with Gold right now. So if you've never played Conquer Live and Reloaded, do yourself a favor and go download it, because it's an amazing platformer, and it's got some humor in there that still hasn't been matched by any of today's games, certainly not in the platform genre. So, but that's what I'm saying. It's just like, is it a good thing they bring it back? You talked about, for a new generation, Scrub Nurse alluded to it, right? Like, because a lot of people missed out on the original franchise. Now you get to go back. So maybe weigh on that a little bit too.
I do think it's a great thing, because I am one that I only played the third one. So this is an opportunity. If I want to go back, I can play the first one, and it'll, have better controls and all the features, hopefully, so that way it'll run smoother than the original, which is great. I mean, I could easily play the original because it's backwards compatible, but I mean, now I won't have to. I can just play the remake, and this way any flaws that were in the original will hopefully not be there. So it might make for a better experience. The younger generation that's getting the gaming, they probably haven't played them. So this, introduces new fans to this series. If it does really, really well, that'll give them more incentive to make that sequel that the diehard fans have been waiting for. So that's great. You got to take this in steps. The investors want to see that this is going to be a viable thing for them to make money on. They don't want to invest a lot in a sequel for a series that hasn't done anything in years and years. They want to make sure this is going to work. So this is probably their way to play it safe first. So I think it's a great thing. And I thought it was fantastic. I can't remember his name, so forgive me, but one of the original developers went on Twitter, and he was super, excited about it. And he basically gave the new studio his blessing, passed the torch on, like they're going to do great, wants to see what they want to do. And that's fantastic. But like the downside is the fans, they kind of, ruined it, and they got toxic, and they're like, this is going to be terrible, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, you don't need to do that. Like if the guy who helped make the game is happy and wants to see what they do, then why already pass judgment on something like that? Like, so just see what they do first. I don't understand why people, they're always so just judgmental, and they want to, just go down that road all the time. So give them a chance to prove themselves before you go down on them like that. Like, people are just ridiculous. So I want to see what they do. It might be amazing. I mean, look at the great successes we've had recently with remakes, with Final Fantasy and Resident Evil. Those have been very successful remakes. So for people to kind of like turn their back on it and be like, this is no way this could be possibly good is just, it's just ridiculous to me and very close-minded.
Yeah.
And just think what you can do with the sound, with a good horror game, with the surround sound we have now, with the headphones that you can play, that you can use. You got your Dolby sound, you got Dolby Vision, different things you can do. You just hear the little creaky sounds, water dropping, and sound like it's coming from right behind you that you didn't have back then. Another thing on the controllers, that little snap move where you can see directly behind you in half a second. Oh, they used to kill me all the time because I'd accidentally hit it and it'd take me forever. Coming from FPS, it used to kill me. So yeah, I can't wait to see what they can do with it.
Nice.
Speaking of new headphones, I want you to notice I got lucky.
The new Xbox.
Those the Xbox ones? Those with the dial
right on.
here?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I just noticed that. Nice, Paul. You like them?
Yeah, I especially love I can have my game and my PC hooked up at the same time, so I can be listening to music and other things on the PC while I'm playing a game and still hear the game and the chat and everything else.
Wow. Nice. No, I'm really enjoying mine. Like I said, they got some great bass and like I said, and lots of options as well to kind of to tune it out. So that's pretty cool. Like me personally, like the thing is, yeah, people say it's milking and this, that, and something else, and to some degree, like okay, like I guess I'll use. Me personally, like the thing is, I'll use one example for you. Let's and this is one of the more egregious ones, I guess, and it's not to pick on a particular company here, but let's take God of War for example. God of War 3, the remaster. Like they added virtually nothing to it, and again, it was a remaster, not a remake. And this is the thing: I'm not so big of a fan for the remasters because a lot of times it's really uncalled for. Obviously, you're just getting a resolution boost most of the time, perhaps some more stabilized frame rates. I like remakes because they take an older game that might have been a little rough around the edges and they do enough with it that it almost feels new. Like if you even look at Shadow of Colossus, which was a great, perfect example of a good remake where they overhauled the graphics engine from top to bottom for better hardware, improved the controls, improved some of the camera angles, and you go back and it feels relatively new. So, I mean, one, you let a whole new audience get, basically come out and buy that franchise, get exposed to it, and perhaps that becomes a new favorite for them. For the long time fans, what it does is, it might reinvigorate your love for a series or get you excited again to go back and play one of your old favorites in a better light. I mean, you can say that with Master Chief Collection. Look at going back and playing Halo 2. They rebuilt it from the ground up with a lot better graphics. And if you go back and play Halo 2 now on the Master Chief Collection, my Lord, like, and if you're not sure how good it looks, all you got to do is hit the little menu button on your controller and play it in the old Xbox graphics, the old graphics, and you're like, whoa, wow. So I'm excited for it, and do you guys think that Capcom was a big reason a lot of this stuff now is starting to come back? Because we saw how they had two massive hits with the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes. We're seeing more companies do this, and they're having a lot of success. I mean, it's kind of a win-win, isn't it? Because, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, you get new fans, you reinvigorate the old fans, and at the end of the day as well, it's also optional. Because if you don't like it and you think it was a waste of money or it's a waste of somebody's time or resources, then you don't have to buy it. But at the end of the day as well, a lot of times people see the remake and they go, oh, that studio could be doing a lot better things with their money and their time. But a lot of times those games are not made by the original studio. They hire third-party developers to come in and build these things. I mean, Blue Point has made a career at this point on making remakes. The latest one being Demon Souls on the PS3.
Right.
So, yeah, how do you guys feel about that? Like,
I think in this space, we can actually do these games a lot more, especially when you have something like Game Pass. Put the games in. Like you said, Microsoft a lot of times they'll give money up front. You'll see the reaction to the game. Lots of people will start playing the game because it's in Game Pass and they don't have to shell out $60 or $40 or whatever they set up for a remake. You put it in Game Pass, folks are going to start playing them games. And it's also been shown that games in Game Pass, people are buying them. They're not just playing them and sending them down after a couple hours. People are buying these games. So you're getting money on both ends and you're getting exposure. You're getting money right when Xbox says, hey, you want to put this on Game Pass, then you're getting money for people buying it. So the effort that you put in, you might cover all of that already just by putting it in the Game Pass and seeing what goes on for it. People are going to buy it. The name's going to, just the name along, Dead Space, people are going to get this game.
It's funny you said, because that was going to be my talking point, was the types of remakes we get. You get the remakes that just basically give you pretty graphics. So you mentioned one of my favorites is Halo 2. And of course, being a Halo fan, I got the Halo 2 anniversary, and it basically kept everything the same and gave you pretty graphics. It kind of dumbed down some of the AI, in my opinion, from the original one. But that's just me being a Halo, super fanboy. I can nitpick at stuff like that. But you also have games like Shadow of the Colossus, on the PS4. Shadow of Colossus on the PS4 was already great. Then it got a remaster, and then it got a full-blown remake by Bluepoint. And the remaster looks great and incredible, but it's in essence the same game. You have a lot of these remakes are in essence just the same game with updated engines, updated graphics, updated controls, and hopefully some accessibility options. But I don't know. To me, just saying a remake, you might as well just call it Remaster 2.0, unless you're doing something like what Capcom did, where they basically took Resident Evil 2, got rid of the tank controls, gave you third person, horror right in your face, and it's like playing the same story in a different way. And same thing with Final Fantasy VII remake. To me, they rebuilt that whole game and the whole story from the ground up to tell the full story. So the remake and remasters are very different to me. This one looks to me like it's just like I said, a remaster 2.0 kind of thing where they're rebuilding the engine. Now, with that being said, it's been made by Motive Studio, who made Star Wars Squadron and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Those are great games. They're very true to the source material. They're very accurate and very fun. So I have a lot of faith that this Remaster 2.0, as I'm calling it, is going to be fantastic. But it's in essence going to be the same game, just prettier. Much like Demon's Soul is. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Who doesn't want to see some of their favorite games with prettier graphics? The other day, I was just talking about how I bought Mega Man: The Wily Wars because it's the 8-bits games in 16-bit versions, the exact same game. So it has an audience, but like I said, I have a problem when somebody calls something a remake when you're not really doing basically what Capcom and Square have done. I think they kind of set the bar.
We don't have enough information to know that what they're doing or not.
That is true. But the old game holds up well.
Like you already know that they're basically just slapping new paint on an old building. And that's just, we don't have enough information to know if that's true.
Hey, that's glow in the dark paint, though. No, you really don't. But if you think about Dead Space, it holds up even today. The gameplay holds up.
Right.
Maybe for you, but there's some improvement that could be made for me.
Oh yeah, accessibility needs improvement, absolutely. But in general, the gameplay holds up. I'm not talking as a whole. I'm talking more as the whole game, not just little piece here and there. But the accessibility is a quality of life improvement that definitely should be added.
But that's what they're going to be doing, is probably changing little pieces here and there, even in a remake or
Yeah. Well,
there is a distinct difference between a remake and a remaster. To me.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
I mean, I would classify I'd classify it as a remake because, again, whole new engine. They're going to change obviously some things to the game. I mean, not to make it different, but obviously it's going to have probably improved controls. It's going to have, different things that people complain. And again, if you're going to overhaul the graphics from top to bottom, this isn't just like, add a texture here, add a texture there. Then, it might be on the lighter side of remake, because we saw how some remakes were like, Gears of War Ultimate Edition. That was a remake, right? It was the same game, but it looked completely different. It was built from the ground up on the Xbox One hardware, and it looked night and day over its predecessor. It added content to it, which was one of the biggest things. They added the PC sections of that game that never did come to console. So to me, that was another perfect. And the multiplayer, wow, like the multiplayer changed and improved tenfold on Gears Ultimate Edition compared to the original Gears. Like, it was just like that again is another perfect example of doing it right, is not only being a fan service, but improving the game exponentially as well, so and definitely the Resident Evils are some of the biggest ones, because obviously the generation that the original games were built on was on very limited hardware compared to today. Like, you're right, Axel, like the current Dead Space games are all damn good in their own right, and they're still good. If you went back and played them now and back and pat, it's not like, oh man, like these games are nasty or anything like that. You kind of go back and sure, yeah, in some areas you might go, yeah, that's aged a little bit, but they're still fun. They're still really good looking games, especially on back and pat now and sort of that up res and stuff like that. So I totally agree. There's a fine line, but at least it's not just an up res kind of deal. And of course, reboots are something totally different altogether. You know, like
very different.
You know,
Right,
like a Doom, like Doom 2016. It's still Doom, but it really is almost a reboot because it's almost so far removed from the old games.
Doom. It was
exactly right. That's a reboot, right?
Yeah,
Doom is a reboot. Yeah.
For me, it really comes down to age. Usually, the older the game, the more I can back up at getting like a remake or even a remaster, depending. For me, one of my favorite remakes is actually for Tomb Raider. If you go back and you play the original Tomb Raider on PS1, that game is awful now. Like, I enjoyed it as a kid, but I can't go back and play it. Like, I can't stand it anymore. It's so awful. So I was happy in the early 2000s when they, when they did the remake, with Tomb Raider Anniversary, and they remade the first game. Like, that was fantastic. It was, it was a great game. So that's great. And then, now we have like the new trilogy, which is a reboot. They could make a whole new storyline to follow. But depending, remakes can be fantastic. I don't like how they do the when they do them too early. Like Last of Us. Last of Us, they do like the remaster every generation. That's not necessary.
Money grab.
Sorry,
excuse me.
You don't need to do it. For me, I want the game. I guess for me, my personal, I would say, a minimum of 2 generations or older. If it's on last gen, don't remaster it. It's too soon. Give it some time. Yeah.
Another good example of a good remake was the Tomb Raider Anniversary, taking the old game from 1996, remaking it with modern day controls and graphics. That was also a lot better. That was another perfect example.
I went back and I played that game like a year ago, and that game holds up well today. So like they did a fantastic job at that game. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the reboot. Reboot is my favorite. One of my favorite franchises now of all time. Those 3 games in that trilogy are unbelievable. But that's the thing. You make a game, you always make people mad because there's some people that didn't like the new Tomb Raiders. They're like, oh, it's Lara Croft is a shell of her former self. This is not the one we grew up on, and the game's puzzles are different, and blah 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 blah. But I mean, me personally, I've always liked the old Tomb Raiders, but I love the new ones because the play control was way better. The graphics are better. The whole story and character were far more believable. Lara's a lot more believable than the old one who went around in her tight trunks and tight top and just, and just all that stuff. So.
But
you don't fight evil in Daisy Dukes? What the hell? Why not? I don't understand.
But I mean, the same could be said about God of War, though. Like the God of War that they have now is nothing like the classic God of War. I feel that if you compare the two, I feel like the new God of War he's been pacified. You know what I mean? Compared to his rage that he had in the classics.
You can't jump.
So,
he got married and he got soft. Oh man,
Scrub, you wanted to jump in, or Scrub almost looked like.
So I just see this kind of like an unfair thing with how fans do that, because they love the new God of War, but so why be critical of on like the new Tomb Raider style?
They love the new God of War because it looks pretty and they can use it for console war stuff. Yeah. But talking with Kay Asante in the chat, I mean, if we can't get a new one, why can't we just remake Splinter Cell? Just something.
I still think it's coming.
We're gonna make it a goal to try to bring up Splinter Cell every week until they do something.
I think it's coming.
Remake Chaos Theory, baby. Oh, remake that one.
Yeah, like I said in the past, I think they're doing the Prince of Persia first, and then they'll probably go into Splinter Cell, maybe.
You guys are doing this the wrong way. Yeah. You guys are going. Okay, well, what did Ubisoft come out with this week? That shooter, what's it called, Terry?
Trash.
X-Defiant.
No.
X-Defiant. Who asked for X-Defiant? Tell me one person that asked for
it.
Nobody. Exactly, right? And everybody's asking for Splinter Cell.
Nobody asked for Apex or Fortnite either, but they still got them and love them.
They're just straight up trolling everybody. It's ridiculous.
My point is, you guys got to stop asking for Splinter Cell and just start shitting on it, and then Ubisoft will make it.
It blows my mind, honestly. Like, and it's hard to do this on Gaming After Dark because I know Meg is a little bit more entrenched with Ubisoft because he's got some kind of contractual stuff that he does with them or whatever. So he always feels like he's a bit reluctant. And I'm like, dude, but Ubisoft is really dropping the ball. Like, it's just like, seriously, it's almost like they make 1 or 2 steps forward and then make 2 or 3 steps back. I mean, like, you had that beautiful little fantastic Immortals Phoenix Rising, which was a nice little surprise. But I mean, it's almost like everything follows the same formula with them now. You know what I mean? So
they're chasing money.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So I don't know. Before we end off on the topic, I mean, obviously, I think it's good. Like I said, it's one of those things you don't have to buy it if you disagree with it. You don't have to spend your money on it. Here, I mean, and for the companies, obviously, the one thing for them, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize, with development costs being so long and so astronomically expensive, what this does for a lot of developers is not only see if there's still a market for that style of game, and if it could be successful, like, it's, retesting the market in this case with Dead Space, but it also allows them to get some physical revenue to pad out a quarter, because the game will probably come out, well, perhaps notoriously they don't have a lot of games to come out. So they get a little bit of extra revenue. It costs them a lot less to develop a remaster, remake in general, because most of the assets are already built or they're there. Like, they don't have to come up with a new story. They don't have to design levels from scratch. They have to redo them. Yeah, sure, they have to recode. I'm not saying it takes, like, they can do this in 6 months, but compared to building a game from the ground up, when you have to design your character, you have to write your story, you have to make sure the level design works. I mean, so this is all there for Dead Space. They just got to improve on the formula. It's easier to improve something than build something, bottom line, right? So, yeah, Dirk Riggedy is in the house. What is going on? And I do believe he even dropped a super chat, $5 coming in hot from our good buddy Dirk Riggedy from the We Bleed Green podcast on Monday evenings. Good morning, y'all. After the underwhelming X1 generation, I still can't believe all this positive Xbox news. Dead Space remake, I can't wait. Yes, we can't wait either, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Good stuff right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We do love We Bleed Green. I wish I could catch it most of the time. By the time I usually get home, those boys are wrapped up, so it really sucks. But I do try to catch it on the replay, and they do have a really cool podcast over there on Monday nights. Good crew right there. Dirt, what's going on, brother? Thanks for being here. My question to you before I kind of went off is just, if you had one game right now that you could remake, what would it be? I'd love to know from the panel. This one might take a little bit of thought.
Ooh. Mine's easy. Driver, the original Driver, that needs to come back. Like, I love that game. Nice. And that one also is one that didn't really age very well. So I would love to see that one get a remake.
The tutorial might be easier to get through with the better controls, because a lot of people gave up on the tutorial. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Mine is easy as well. And that is none other than Panzer Dragoon Saga. Wow. It is the greatest RPG probably, made for a good 10 years. Whenever you talk to anybody about the greatest RPGs of all time, it's always in the conversation. And nobody played it because they only made like 25,000 copies of it. And, it's an old Sega Saturn game. Obviously, the graphics don't hold up. The gameplay holds up. And the story still holds up. And it just deserves from the ground up rebuild to fly your dragon around. So, yeah, to me, that one's easy. Panzer Dragoon Saga deserves it.
Nice.
Burnout Revenge. Burnout Revenge. As far as I'm concerned, that was the best Burnout title out there.
Burnout Revenge. That's another great. You could call it spiritual successor with Burnout Paradise, but my God, that was not anywhere close, eh?
No. Burnout Paradise was a weak. Revenge was so much fun because one of the things you were trying to do was knock other cars off the road, cause explosions, make things go boom, and they lost all that after that. They didn't do it in Paradise or anything else. So
look who's in the chat, Mag.
Oh, Mag, what's up?
Sorry, Mag, but it's true, man. I feel like you want to say some stuff on GAD some nights when it comes to Ubisoft, but I can feel that restraint. It's kind of like, I'm gonna do this, but how do I rephrase it?
His answers are definitely corporate speak whenever it comes to Ubisoft.
Oh shit. Oh man. Good stuff right there. Who else didn't pick one?
I have one from 2013, just because I think they had a good idea, but they kind of dropped the ball on the execution. If it was another company or the same company, just do it over. Anybody play Homefront?
Yes, the original.
Man.
Yeah, that was a good one.
If they just need a little tweaking. The second game, that was too many problems. But that first game, just the storyline and what's going on, I would love to see somebody do that. It's a good story. I'd love to see that get redone.
Have you ever seen a franchise screwed up so badly in its sequel as that one? Because I really liked Homefront. I thought it had tons of potential. And that second one was, to me, that was like it was like Medal of Honor. Remember the reboot from 2010 when they went to Afghanistan, and it was I thought the game was dynamite. And then, of course, 2 or 3 years later, they make Medal of Honor. What was it? Warfighter. It was a sequel or whatever, and it was just like, oh my god, this game is just not near as good.
And that's another series. I mean, Call of Duty has canceled so many good I used to play every Medal of Honor game that came out. That was a series. And then your Tom Clancy's. The last one that was real good was that Advanced Warfighter. Mm-hmm. That was a great one too. And then Call of Duty just pretty much pushed all of them to the side, especially with their multiplayers. But yeah, I would love Homefront for them to get a do-over and try it again.
Nice.
Sorry to infurious one in the chat, but just I don't know what you're trying to get on here with this morning, but nobody's interested in your Dogecoin and your Bitcoin stuff. So nobody's interested in buying your stuff here. So this is not the podcast to be advertising stuff. Just going to put that out there. Appreciate you being here and the support, but just letting you heads up, man. So
no solicitation.
Yeah. Nobody's interested. We're talking games here, man. Exactly. All right. Shit. Yeah, Wicked Hot comes up with one that we've heard a few from the community too. Def Jam, Fight for New York.
Oh wow.
The original game
would be a licensing nightmare, but it'd be great.
I got another one. I don't know. I would take this before Homefront. Afro Samurai.
Oh yeah.
Have anybody played that game?
Briefly.
Oh yeah,
awesome,
long time ago.
No, never. I heard it was good, but I didn't buy it.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It was, yeah. I know Kay Asante would be all over that too, but yeah, Afro Samurai. That game was awesome. I loved it.
You know which one deserves another remake is Mega Man Legends. It played. You had to rotate your character using the shoulder buttons on the PlayStation controller. Mega Man Legends would be a great remake. And also, get us a sequel, Mega Man Legends 3. Come on, Capcom.
It's funny. Right before I went to do my pick, Masshole puts it in the chat and says, Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. Now, I'm not 100% convinced it really needs a remake because it still stands, I think, up on its own. But I would like to see it with like new, amazing graphics and all that stuff. And I heard somebody coming in the back door here. Let's see who we got in the house here, people. Let's see who we got. Oh, there he is.
What's up?
Oh, Dirk Grady in the house. Woo!
What's happening?
Hey, what's going on? What's up?
How you all doing?
Good,
man.
Man, somebody didn't throw the deadbolt. I mean, hi, how you doing?
Somebody forgot to lock that door. That's nice. Yeah, Axel's like, hey, Griggy's in the house. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. We're down a member on the panel today. It'd be a great time to get him in.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. So that was a good suggestion in chat. Like I said, I would love to have a new Butcher Bay or a new Riddick game, period. And I think another one that I would like to see, and I'd like to see it done with modern graphics and modern controls, because I always liked the premise of this game, but it was never done right. I guess you could say it kind of has in a way, and that is Tenchu. I'd like to see Tenchu come back, but if they could make Tenchu and do it the way a Ghost of Tsushima is, my God, would that be great? I mean, they almost would feel almost one and the same, I suppose. There's a lot of similarities between the two, but I think Tenchu could be a little bit more stealth-oriented and great ninja action. And let's not forget, you know what? Sega game really needs a big comeback here, guys. Please disagree with me if you need, but
Eastward.
How about Eastward? Yeah. But how about Shinobi, man?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
all this
absolutely.
samurai ninja stuff going around, bring back Shinobi and bring a good one back. We really haven't had a great Shinobi for how long?
PS2 Shinobi.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden seems to be starting to come back. So where's Joe Musashi and Shinobi? Bring them back. Come on.
Right.
My husband would love to see Chrono Cross come back. Everybody always talks about Chrono Trigger, but he preferred Cross. So like if that could come back, he would be the happiest man. You know. So
Furious. It's not my stuff, dude. Get Robin Hood trying to give you good investment advice.
Nah, it's time to give him a timeout.
He did. Timed him out.
Yeah, next one you get a timeout in here, man. That's it. Yeah, mods. All right,
I just did. I timed him out.
There you go.
Next one's going to get him removed. Next one's going to get him removed, just so he knows.
So, Green, how do you feel about the new Dead Space, the remake coming out, and how do you feel about the remakes, I guess, and that sort of stuff?
I'm excited for it. I love the original trilogy, and you know, I always think about how the original Dead Space came out. What year was it? 2007, 8? What was it around there?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
2007, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect time to do a remake because you know there's a whole batch of people on this planet that's gamers, that's teenage gamers that really didn't get to experience those games back then. And so as people that, you know, we actually played the originals, it's okay to have a remake, you know, kind of like Resident Evil 2. Because I never finished the original Resident Evil 2 back in the PS1 days. So to go through that game again with the updated graphics, I absolutely loved it. So Dead Space is a game that I did finish back in the day. And I really can't wait to see it with the updated graphics, you know, just today's technology. And I'm looking forward to that. And I think they should do that with some other games. Now, I'm not talking about director's cuts that's a year old. I'm talking about some games, you know, from years ago. And I think it's fine to redo these games. Just my opinion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which one would you remake if you could tell someone to remake a game? Which one would it be, Dirt?
Let me see. I actually like the Shinobi. Shinobi was a game. Now, I'm not talking about the ones on the PS2. It was more of a Ninja Gaiden type of Shinobi. I mean, like a Shinobi type of stealth, you know, some real ninja stuff, if you catch my drift, because, you know, the original Shinobi 16-bit era, you know, side-scroller. I love those games. And I would like to see another Shinobi.
Mm. Yeah, could you imagine, like, even say take a game like Revenge of Shinobi or Shinobi 3, but turn that into a 3D action piece?
Shadow Dancer, remember that one? Shadow Dancer was great. Yeah.
Yep. Agree wholeheartedly. Sega has so. That's the thing that frustrates me with Sega. They have so many great properties that they just seem to be sitting on.
Yeah.
And everybody else would kill to have that kind of that influence and that property. You know, like, you know, bring back some Afterburner, bring back a new age Outrun that mimics like Forza Horizon or something. You know, that sort of thing. You know.
And like I mentioned already, Newf, eSWAT would be a game that I think would. Kind of that game could work nowadays, you know. They have a guy that kind of like a RoboCop type of situation.
Damn, sure could.
I used to love that game.
Afterburner never went away. They still make those.
They do?
Really?
Yeah, yes. They went strictly handheld.
Oh,
okay, I got you now.
Yeah, I mean, there was an arcade Afterburner a few years ago, which looked okay, but you know, I like to see.
I think I have one on my Switch. I think I have Afterburner on my Switch.
I like to see one done that's more like an Afterburner done like a little bit more like what do you call it, Ace Combat kind of deal, but perhaps not as simulated, a little bit more of an arcade action, but not just flying straight into the screen and dodging left and right. You know, like there's a little bit more navigation to it, I guess. You know what I mean?
The one on the Switch is difficult because it's all movement control, so you have to turn your Switch to actually fly the jet, and it's a pain.
Oh wow!
It's a pain.
I couldn't do that on my best day. Okay.
Can you see that on a tight bus? Oh, sorry.
I would say Space Harrier, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's kind of like maybe Returnal kind of is like a Space Harrier type of game, you know, in my opinion. But I used to love Space Harrier. So
At my age, my space just gets hairier. That's all. Oh God!
I know it won't happen because of Madden, but if we could go back and get like NFL Blitz again, like the good NFL Blitzes, I would love. Not that try hard one that they try to do because Madden was still doing their thing. Like before Madden kind of like took blocked everybody else from making football games like Blitz like 2000, like the stuff on like the 64 and like the arcades, like that stuff. I put so many hours in that as a kid.
Right.
I'd love to have that come back.
I'd even take an NCAA over a new Madden.
Oh, I think that will be back.
Yeah,
it will be back
with the new deals and everybody saying you can make money now as a player. Yeah,
that will be back.
Back.
Okay. It's inevitable at this point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't realize you popped out there for a second. Welcome back, Axel.
Yeah, I went to unmute my mic, and my leave button is right underneath it, and I hit the leave button.
I heard a bloop, and I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, X." Here right now.
Lady Foxfire has something for dirt right there.
I thought you had to have a beanie or a hat to be on the podcast. I've been bamboozled.
Oh, damn. I ain't got no hat. Oh, man.
Holy shit, we got twins down on the bottom here.
There we go. Yeah. I'm actually about to go to the barber so I get my beard trimmed. It's a mess right now. So I won't be on long. But,
I just did mine. I have to put on a hat, man. This head gets too shiny, and it's not
like
good for podcast.
Like ray tracing.
That's right.
With the light shining on it.
Oh yeah.
There's ray tracing on his head. Oh my god, it's great. All right. Well, let's we're pretty much at the halfway mark of the show, so let's bring in Coolcat Terri with her indie spotlight. Terri, the floor is yours.
Yes. Okay. So this time around, the game I'm going to show you guys is not going to be on Xbox, but for those of you who play on PC or on the Switch, you'd be able to take advantage of this one. So give me 1 second to pull up the trailer first. Okay, there, it's up. So the one that I'm going to show you is called OSM, or it stands for Old School Musical. So check out this trailer. The trailer is kooky, but the whole game is kooky. But it's like really fun though.
Switch. Oh, Axel's
I'm already in. I love rhythm games. This chicken is killing me, man.
Interesting.
So this game, let me go ahead and stop sharing that real quick. So basically, this game is a rhythm adventure game. It has a storyline where you play through, and it does a lot of parodies to classic video games. You would have saw it real quickly on there. They had like Road Rage, they had Ninja Turtles, they have all kinds of crazy stuff going on in that game. It's a lot of fun. It has over 50 chiptune tracks. So so if you're into getting the like soundtracks for games, they have an amazing one. So go ahead and check that out. The story has 20 levels, and there is a multiplayer mode that can contain up to 4 players. So you can go ahead and you can play with your friends, and it's only $13. So for a fun little game to kind of go down memory lane on some of the classic retro games, and to do the rhythm stuff. It's just fun. The music just makes it worth it for sure. So.
As soon as I saw that little Mega Man knockoff thing, I was like, yeah, Axel's in.
And Nick's in the chat. Chicken is working hard not to be a nugget.
That'd be funny if you had a chicken.
The revolution.
I saw a little Metal Gear in there. There was a Outrun kind of deal. It was kind of funny. We were just talking Outrun. It's definitely a lot of throwbacks.
Some Star Fox in there. Yeah,
yeah, pretty cool.
And R-Type.
Right. What's going on, Ice Queen Gaming? Welcome to the podcast. Wow, we got 40 amazing people up in here this morning. Welcome and thanks for getting up with us and part of this awesome show. Everybody else, we got anybody new? Nix is in here. Nix, what's going on this morning? Thanks for being Lethal Terminus. Kay Asante is in the house with us. What's going on, Kay? Crazy Greek dude is here. As I said, we saw the Mag up in the chat earlier on. Mag, what's going on, brother? How are you? And anytime you need an invite, Mag, you just let me know, man. We'll bring you in a heartbeat. No problems right there. Lady Foxfire hanging out with us this morning. Good to see so many familiar faces in the chat. You guys are fantastic. So, again, yes. I might as well get my segment out of the way this morning. It is now time to pick our community spotlight for this particular week. And we are doing the round circle since we've kind of come full circle and come around here. So yeah, I'm back to picking. So my first time that I picked, I think was on episode 1. Who was it I picked up back then? Oh yes, I picked the Mag. Speaking of the Mag,
no one important.
No one important. Today
it's Tony Baloney, a totally different guy. Yeah, no.
Wouldn't that be funny? So today I am going to pick a person that is in the chat today. He's been a longtime supporter of my content. He's certainly one of the most well-grounded gamers, podcasters, streamers that I know of. It's an honor to call him friend. I feel like if I were to meet him in real life, we would be great friends. I think we'd have some great conversations. And I feel like he's the kind of guy that legitimately got your back. Some people say that they do and stab you in it immediately afterwards. I feel this guy is legit. And it's the one, the only, he's in the chat, Dreadpool. Dreadpool is my community member spotlight. Dreadpool is a member of the NLG. Dreadpool is a supporter on many people's podcasts. He's a moderator. He does Breaking Bread with Dread, a new little segment that he does right there. He is part of, he's usually on, you often find him sometimes with the Graphic God and the Retro Renegade. You'll see him over on Boom's 6 show, like Breakfast with Boom. Dreadpool, he's on, I don't know, so many podcasts. I probably should have wrote it down. But he's on Wilmy Hood's podcast as well on Wednesday nights with Gaming Beyond the Box. Like I said, chances are if you've been around this community at all, you've seen Dreadpool in your chat. You've seen him on podcasts. Like I said, I've played games with Dread. I've had personal conversations with Dreadpool. All those sorts of things. As a matter of fact, me and Axel, we were just doing a bit on Friday night there that Axel does, and he brings us in to answer some fantastic questions. So yeah, Dread is definitely my community spotlight for that fact alone, that he is the legit, like he's the real deal kind of guy. And he tells it like it is. If you watch Dreadpool, he gives it to you straight. There's no cookie cutter crap with him. He'll give you his opinion, but he does it in such a way too that he never comes off as being an arrogant prick, or he's never pompous like this old guy over here. He does it very, very well. I respect that. I respect that, he commands that respect himself and he gives it back. But it's just the support that I've gotten for Dread over the years. He's one of my longest supporters. And like I said, I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and all the stuff that he does. And I wish him the most success, and the community continue the support for Dreadpool, because again, support and be supported. Well, he definitely lives up to that mantra. So it's all on you, Dreadpool, man. So congratulations. You are my second pick for our community spotlight. You rock, brother. Much love to you. And we'll see you in the gaming streets.
Salute.
There you
Awesome.
go.
And sad to say, I was supposed to meet Dread in a few weeks, but because of the situation with my roommate and his immune system and things like that, and things going on here in Florida, I'm not going to be able to make it to the convention in Orlando to see him. So I'm really bummed about that. I was looking forward to meeting Dread.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and he's got a pretty epic beard as well. So Dread, when he comes on camera, he's got that epic beard. Looks like he could fit in with ZZ Top, and so that's another thing making him stand out, and all that stuff. So everybody's like, "Congrats, Dread." He's probably sitting there going, "Knowing Dread, he's probably like, what did I win? Did nobody let me in on this?"
He's looking for that code. He's looking for that code.
My veneration, I told him.
Wait, I'm your second pick.
Mag beat you out on week 1. So sorry, Dread. You know, you weren't you're my second pick. To explain that, make sure you're getting that right. You're the second because we do the community spotlight. Every one of us picks one per episode. So you weren't my second pick for this show. You're like my second overall pick. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope he gets that. Anyway,
if you're not first.
Yeah, I wasn't like lining up 5 people today going, yeah, no, I missed that guy. Dreadpool's in there. No, it's good, man.
I actually didn't know this, but Dreadpool has a logo now for Breaking Bread with Dread. I have not seen it until today. That's pretty cool.
I did not see it either. DJ Berto Das comes in hot and heavy with the $2 super chat. He says Dreadpool is the man. Good pick, Newf. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. We've all had some fantastic picks in the community so far, and looking forward to whoever's going to do our pick next week. Should be fun. All right, let's get into a couple more topics. I don't think we might have Dirk Griggity very long here, so we'll try to fly down through the middle. Let's just talk quickly about that little gem that just came out called Death's Door. Who's played it? It seems to be getting lots of great buzz right now. Yeah. And Griggity, if you want to jump in, if you played it, want to give your thoughts on it, have at her.
I'm playing it right now. Absolutely love the game. It's incredible to know that only 2 people made this game. It's incredible game, incredible indie game. It's like the game reminds me of what does it remind me of? Does anybody have any thoughts about that? It reminds me of, I'm trying to think of a game. Well, you could say kind of Zelda, but I never really was into Zelda, original Zeldas back in the day.
Yeah, but it's harder than Zelda.
Yeah, there's a challenge. There's definitely a challenge. But it's just a great game so far. I'm not finished with it yet. I'm about six hours in. I mean, it's just a great game. I mean, I can't even really explain everything, but it's just a great game. And I really recommend, if you haven't played it, you should really play it because I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah. Now, this game, if I'm correct, it is right now. It is an Xbox. Is this Xbox Steam exclusive or what?
I believe it is right now. Yeah. At the moment, yeah. I'm not sure if we'll be on PS5 or Switch, but right now it is. Yeah, but most likely a timed exclusive. Most likely. I'm just assuming. But
the game, from the footage I've seen, the game looks gorgeous. What stands out to you in this one, Greg? Is it like the level design, or is it ingenuitive gameplay? Because I mean, it does what? It's like a 3/4 top-down kind of deal. So it reminds you like of the old Legend of Zelda or that Tunic game that's going around, right?
Yeah. Like the level design is great. You know, the graphics are actually pretty good for a game of that scale. Holy crap. Like the crow looks pretty good. You know, it's a very good game. And like I said, I'm not finished with it because I heard rave reviews about it on social media. I said, you know what, let me check this game out. And sure enough, I picked it up and I'm enjoying it. The level design is great. It actually has a decent little story about this, you know, this crow. You know, but yeah, I'm enjoying the game.
So let me ask you this, because this is the one that, as Xbox community, we getting harped on constantly. Xbox gamers don't buy no games. Now the Game Pass is out. Now this one, as far as I know, is not on Game Pass, at least not as of yet. And I've seen lots of people buying it. So I think we can put that narrative in the dumpster that Xbox gamers don't buy no games. This definitely looks like people are buying it. You know, why is it? That's what it takes. Is it takes a certain level of hype or a certain kind of critical reception for a game to kind of sell on the Xbox outside of Game Pass? I mean, why are people picking this one up is the question that I like to know, because most people would go, it looks good, but I'll buy it in Game Pass.
Yeah, I think, well, like me personally, Newf, I think word of mouth. Like I mentioned, I really wasn't interested in the game until I saw tons of people talking about it on social media. Like, hey, this game is pretty good. I said, okay, you know what? Let me check it out. I thought it was in Game Pass, and I saw it was. I said, okay, it's not. It's only $20. Let me buy it. Yeah, bought it, and I haven't regretted it for a second. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I think word of mouth is something that helps games. That you know that's not really being advertised. Yeah, it was strictly word of mouth for me personally.
Mm-hmm. How about anybody else? Do you guys think that aggressive pricing on some of these games is what also helps it sell? Because like I think it's saying Fastback, our good brothers in the chat, he's not in Game Pass, only $17 to $19. So is when a game is not a huge investment, does that make you more likely to say, you know what, I'm going to snap it up?
So First off, I just want to point out that I'm playing Death's Door on xCloud here using my Series X.
Nice.
You can stream. I can stream directly from my Series X. So, yeah, there is more latency than on the a little bit of latency. And as you know, Death's Door is not the game you want to have latency on. It's still good. It's still good. With all that being said, I bought Death's Door. As you know, this was one of the games I was looking forward to in the summer. It looked good just from what I was seeing and the previews that I was hearing. And when it came out and it got all that critical reception, I'm like, all right, done deal. I was going to buy it. And in my head, I was thinking, I'm going to buy this game for $30. And I was surprised to see it was $20, which made it even better. Mm-hmm. I don't mind supporting indies. As a matter of fact, I love indies. I think indies are pushing the industry in ways AAA games just are not.
Absolutely.
You know, they're experimenting. And they're showing that some of these, that at the end of the day, it comes down to gameplay. You want to have a good game, it comes down to the actual gameplay itself.
Indeed.
You know,
just before you continue, Griggity's got to jet out, but we think we'll stop it in for a few minutes to have his piece. Yeah, man, we'll get you back in the future. As, an official guest.
Anytime, just hit me up. You know.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thanks.
Griggity, before you go, man, let people know where they can check out your channel, what's happening on and all that stuff.
Yeah, check out my channel, Dirt Griggity. I have a podcast on Monday evenings at 6:30 Eastern time called We Bleed Green. And I will, there's a disclaimer. We do talk a lot of trash. It's not like this show. We do talk a lot of trash about PlayStation fanboys. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time. If you like that type of banter, it's definitely the show for you. But so check it out. It's a fun podcast. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, man.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, man.
See you later.
Hey, we got to have a few of those podcasts to go up and put some of those the PS trolls in their place, right?
Hey, I love his show so much, man. It's so funny.
It's funny, man.
It's so funny.
They do it to the Xbox community every chance they get. So yeah, we got to have a few people carrying the green torch.
They do it to each other though. Like it's just banter amongst themselves. They do it to each other as well. It's a great show.
It is. Yeah, I enjoy this.
So back to Death's Door.
Yes,
I was looking forward to it. I bought it. It was $20, which made it even better. I have absolutely no issue supporting indies. Some of the most games that I'm enamored with are indies. Like on my Switch, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the game called Golf Story. It's an RPG golf game. That's awesome. You should definitely just check it out. But back to Death's Door. So it has a lot of that harder combat on it. You have to master a lot of weapons. It's almost like a little crow ninja. You can unlock weapons. And what surprised me with Death's Door, not only was it made by two people, but it's fully Xbox Series S and X enabled, which means it has quick resume. It has light ray tracing, shadow reflection ray tracing, all that good stuff. Like this is a legitimate game. And I was a little shocked that it didn't come to Game Pass, and I'll tell you why. Because Xbox is basically going, Game Pass is the platform now, and everything else is a Game Pass sort of device, right? So when they work out an exclusive deal with somebody, such as, Death's Door, they should have, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, this should be on Game Pass. And of course, I found out through my research and my following the game that it wasn't going to be on Game Pass. So I was not surprised by that. But I was a little surprised by okay, so is Game Pass the platform or is Xbox the platform? I'm a little confused. Xbox is sending me mixed signals. They're playing with my emotions, So yeah, no, but definitely check out the game. I can't wait to get into it. I'm only about an hour into it. I bought it yesterday as that is my gaming day, and I was going to play the living daylights out of it. But then somebody was like, hey, sell Sea of Thieves with me. And so we sold some Sea of Thieves for about 6 hours.
Nice.
So I'm only a little bit past the tutorial, and I'm already impressed with it. And the bad guys in the game are scripted to each other. So they fire in sequences to not break up sequences. And if you beat them, they adjust to kind of keep the action high-paced. It's almost like they adjust to how many of them they are. They adjust their tactic a little bit. So I really enjoy that it's not just dumb AI. just doing their thing. So yeah, Death's Door definitely deserves all the accolades it has as of what I've played of it so far, but I'll let you know some more next week.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anybody else on the panel have a chance to dive into some Death's Door?
Or I have not.
Nope.
I have watched some gameplay. It does look like a fun game. Yeah, it brings back the old style of games. Back NES days, you're sitting there, you know. I want to say, just like you were saying, Axel, with the patterns and having to beat guys, almost kind of remind me a little bit of some Contra, some Zelda, a little bit of all of that. And you just got to learn your different moves, when you can attack, when you can't. And I think it's a pretty cool game. Like you said, for the price, it's worth the thing, worth a dabble into it. I have some extra Microsoft money that I haven't spent yet, so I think I'm about to pick up the game just to try it out. So when you're having pricing like that, where anybody is just easily accessible, even when it's not in Game Pass, yes, I think it will drive the sales. It will drive more people in there, but also just the word of mouth. And then you get other of these magazines and e-magazine companies sitting there talking about the game, talking about the experience. Of course, is going to put more people out. So the word of mouth helps these these smaller games out that doesn't have the advertisement money to push it. So it's worth it. Like I said, I was watching just to see, because sometimes a lot of people, which I want to ask you, Axel, are saying, oh yeah, it's a fun game. And I think we use this term too much. Oh, it's kind of close to Souls, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anytime there's a game that has a little bit of difficulty higher than a normal setting. So what do you think about that when people say that, Axel?
So the game has a dash and roll mechanic, and you definitely need to use it. It's intended to use it. You can't duck. So instead of ducking or anything like that, you have to dash and roll. So it's basically just replacing one mechanic with another. So if you're used to ducking, you should be pretty okay with rolling. The problem is that you can roll into obstacles if you don't know where you're going. If you're not careful, you can roll into other projectiles. It does take some timing. Same thing with the dash. You can dash into something else. You can dash into, and you can basically kill yourself. And the openings on some are hard to see. They're definitely difficult to see where the openings are to attack these bad guys, but it's fun. I don't consider it Souls-like, because in Souls, even when you were rolling, you could still take some damage if you knew what to do. But Souls was unforgiving. Like, you had all these meters you had to watch out for. You had certain blocking you had to upgrade and all this other stuff. And it's not the same as this. It's not, to me, it's just replacing one mechanic with another. Like I said, you're basically replacing ducking and jumping with dashing and rolling. That's it.
Okay.
Well, you just saved me $20 because I'm real bad at that stuff. So there you go.
Oh yeah, and as Cybergunter said, you can hit those projectiles back at the enemies. That is correct.
And that takes time. Rolling, Paul.
And unlike a game that just came out on another platform, are you able to save?
It auto saves. So you go through the doors, and so let's pretend you die at a boss. You don't go all the way back to the beginning of the level. You go back to where the door is, the last door you went through. So it's called Death's Door, and also the levels they're intelligently designed. Like I'm always shocked with some intelligently designed levels. I'm impressed, where you can just kind of find shortcuts back to where you were, or if you're good enough, you can just roll or dash past the enemies. So yeah, it does have a semi-save point thing. It's more akin to like Ori. Like if you played Ori and the Will of the Wisp, it's almost like a top-down Ori. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. You just got to get your mechanics down. And in Ori, you had to get your light jumps down and your heavy jumps down and your weapon swings and all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely the type of game I'll play because I finished story in like one sitting. That's how much I loved it. So yeah, I'll probably, like I said, I was planning on going a full 6 hours on this game, and somebody called me out to the sea, and I had to go.
Well, what impresses the hell out of me is it's an impressive looking little game. You know, again, especially for an indie game, it looks really good. And to know that it's been made by a very small team, you know, hats off to them. You know, like I said, this is again where you see that creativity and most importantly, a passion that comes out, a lot of, like I said, dedication to seeing this through, and then obviously getting critical acclaim, which is going, you know, it's good for the industry. It's good for them, but it's good for the industry. You'll see more people taking those risks. And again, at the end of the day, I think it's, you know, it comes down to, like I said, great game design and the proper and building a good game at the end of the day, not just something that's fun, but something that is well built. That, like I said, when you get in indie games that almost have that AAA style of quality where they feel like, you know, they've really been built over the years with a lot of attention to detail and stuff like that, then I think that's great, and they get the proper accolades for it. Like I said, I have a feeling it's going to probably come into Game Pass at some point in time, like that, and more people will get to try it. But it is right now, it is good to see the community getting behind it and spending the money and trying it out and spreading the good word. So that's always good.
Yeah, I'm down to try most games. I definitely don't like all games, and some I don't finish, some for backlog, and some I just go, oh, that wasn't for me. But yeah, I think if you have the opportunity, this does look like a fun game. I just hadn't jumped all the way in. I think I'll just end up pulling the trigger sometime later on the day. So check it out. Like, that's the good thing about YouTube and the internet now. Back in the day, we would get a magazine a month out talking about a game, and then you would get little blurbs or whatever later on. You barely had any internet. You might have had dial-up. I know some of you people in the chat are like, well, how old are you? You didn't have all that stuff, but now you want to try out a game. You don't go to Toys R Us in a place and just, oh, the cover looks great. Take it home. It might be good. It might not be good. You can actually kind of see, you can see some playthroughs, see if this is something for you. You can see people describe it. You got friends, different chats, all that stuff. And that's what's good about technology and bringing people together. Because back then, if you just didn't have a best friend whose parent had all the money that could buy every single game in the world just for you to try out, you were lost. You were just
absolutely right.
Yeah, so it's a great thing.
It kind of makes you wonder how many NES games that went on to be hits would have actually tanked and have had way less sales if it was in this era today. Like I'm sure, like I remember when Acclaim made WWF WrestleMania, you know, it sold like hotcakes because it was WWF WrestleMania. But at the same time, the game was, of all the wrestling games, that one was ass. That one was bad. Ass. Pretty much kick and punch. You know, but how many copies of that game sell? You know, and you could say that about a lot of games, even in the 16-bit era. Like I said, when you had to rely on a magazine to get your information, and even then, you couldn't see the game live. You didn't have video streaming services and things to kind of see people play it. You kind of went, "Oh, that game looks cool," and you hope for the best, cross your fingers, right?
Yes.
So,
Terry, are you getting that store?
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. It's just I have so many games on my plate. It takes forever for me to get through everything.
First world problems.
We're going to talk about this that's on Game Pass. It has my Baz Anku, is it, in the chat there? Talking about Raji. Anybody try that one out at all? Like, should I go give it a shot or what?
I'm sorry. What is it?
I've heard great things about that one. I've heard great things. I've added it. It's installed, but it's another one that's gonna have to wait because I'm
on Game Pass and it does look really cool. So
yes, I have it installed, but I haven't got to it yet. I've heard some great things, especially explaining. Yeah, EGM. Yeah, exactly. I've heard great things about just the story and explaining the background of the culture and everything is very immersive. So that's something I do want to try out and see.
You know, Bass says it's great. Good stuff. Beauty of Game Pass too, right there, man. Like I said, it's not a big gamble. You download it, play it. You don't like it, you just uninstall it. It's that simple. I'm starting to figure that out very quickly. I'm coming around, people. I got the Game Pass so far. I've been impressed. So
you started to do the memory moving around.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So
you want to know what I wish Xbox would improve on the Series X. So I have the external hard drive in there, and when you go to download a game, it only downloads it into the internal. You cannot select which drive to download it to, and that is
yes, you can. Yes,
something
you can.
that I wish they could add.
No, there's a setting for it. There's a setting for it.
I mean, but select it with every game, not a default, like I do on my PC.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, the store. I definitely like it. Like I said, it's like an Ori game, and you know, this kind of game is right up my alley. I'm probably going to play the crap out of this game.
Speaking of indies and new releases, Scrub, what do you got on deck for us this week? What is new to Game Pass, leaving Game Pass? You got anything on the docket?
Yeah, we got a couple of things. Let me share my screen, and then we can go into that. I don't know how many have had the chance yet to check this out. But I like what Xbox is doing on their store front, and then especially on their Game Pass app. Like you said, big game coming out, everybody has sent you can pre-install. You've been able to pre-install it for like over a week now. That's one great thing about these systems and what they've been able to do. I remember way back in the day, you get your midnight release and then you go home and then you have to wait however long it takes to download your game. Then you can start playing it. Same now. Without the midnight releases, the game pops out. You have to sit there and wait before you can actually play it. Now you can pre-install it, get ready to play the game, and boom, you're right in there. So that's a great thing I think Xbox is doing. They've changed up their recently added Last Stop. I've heard some good things about this game. Raji just came out. Chris Tales, I've heard some good stuff about. Farming Simulator. Now that's my jam. If you don't get on Farming Simulator, I don't know what you're doing. But I'm just joking. But it is there. Like I said, there's one good thing about Game Pass. They have stuff for everybody. It's not just set to a specific. Oh, I like this style. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, Xbox, that's just the shooter box." Well, there's way more than shooters. You got your choice with Game Pass. Whatever you like, it's coming. Or if it's not already there. So coming soon, like I said, the Sense on 7/29 Hades is our next big indie that everybody's been talking about. Has been waiting for it to come to console for a long time. So I'm definitely going to jump on that when that comes out. It was Psychonauts. Just check out, keep updated on the app. But the way they have changed up the Game Pass app to show you what's going on, I think they have done a great job, and hopefully they keep on improving it as it goes. All right, so let's go switch out to our other favorite. Let's switch out to our other favorite thing. Here's our Game Pass counter. So on Game Pass counter, if you haven't heard about it, GamePassCounter.com, it's a great area for us to sit and see what's going on. As you can see, 465 unique games on Xbox Game Pass, split it up between PC, console, cloud, EA Play, back and pat, and everything else. Leaving soon for this month of July. You have right here, lurks below, Undermine Tourist. If that's what you're into, look at it, check it out. But here is where I'm going. It's coming up next. Blink's Crimson Skies. If you hadn't had a chance to check out Crimson Skies, I know a lot of people have talked about it for days and days. Crimson Skies coming on July 26th, right around the corner in a couple of days. Microsoft Flight Simulator for console. I definitely want to check this out just to see how well it runs what are they doing that's different from PC to Xbox? Because if it's having a lot of problems running it, not problems, but you really have to have the high end PC to be able to get the full quality.
Can I speak to that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's actually you can deal with Flight Simulator in 2 ways on your console. One is you download the whole damn thing and run it from your console, 98 gig or whatever it is, or you download 46 gig or whatever it is, and it'll actually run it from the cloud. And my understanding is the cloud version is actually a little more detailed.
Yes, is that the one where they've been
to me?
Is that what the pictures they've been showing on Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay,
and so you do have a choice, and so I think, depending on what you want, I think it's going to run, from everything I've seen, it's going to run fine. In fact, it's going to run really damn nice. Space will only be the only issue. Now, it will be interesting to see, in the real world, how different it is to run it from the cloud or run it from the console. I already have it all on my console, so I'm just going to run it that way for now. But if it gives me the option, even though it's all there, to disable the console side and try to run it from the cloud, then I can do almost a side-by-side comparison of the functionality of it.
Right. Because that's what I've been seeing. There's been some side-by-side comparisons on Twitter, so that's pretty cool. So that's a good point for everybody. Well, Paul just brought out, so you do have some options, but I definitely want to see how that game comes out. Of course, another game everybody's been talking about, July 29th, The Ascent. So we have some big games coming out to Game Pass, which you only pay for one low monthly installment. Or if you're brand new, somebody like Newf, you can get it for $1. So so check it out, guys. There's all games here. We can do our drop down a list of recently added. So they put it not in order of when it came out, but in alphabetical order. So there's plenty of games. We just talked about Raji that came out, and people are saying it's a great game. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. There's a lot of stuff. Need Proceed, Hot Pursuit. But I'm not just going to go through every game and on the list. But if you just look at GamePassCounter.com and check it out and keep up with some of the games. Of course, when we see the big ones, we're always going to talk about it, let everybody know when it's coming out. But that's all I got for this week. Check out these games and let's have some fun.
There you go, guys. Check it out. And again, that's www.GamePassCounter.com to see what's going and what's coming to your favorite Game Pass service. All righty. Dragonheart Yobi is in the chat. He woke up to us this morning and drops a $5 super chat. Absolutely. One of our great community supporters right there. Mr. Peace, Love Life himself. To you all, keep up the amazing work. Keep bringing the balance into this community. I'm proud of you all. Newf, keep up. You are momentum. Nice. Yes. We appreciate that, Yobi. Thanks for your support, man. Great people here. And he comes back with his little hashtag, we want Terri at Coolcat Terri. You got a big fan, Terri. That's awesome. That's great stuff right there. All right. On your front, Paul, anything this week that you'd like to say on accessibility, or we just moved the needle?
Just the same old stuff we've been talking about. I mean, like I said, I reached out, meaning I tweeted and I tagged them in it to hope they'd notice it about accessibility with the remake. Personally, I am watching for things and seeing for openings to say, hey, as much as I can, and been more so lately. But there's no real new news on that front right now. Nothing coming out of Microsoft yet. And so we'll see what happens over the next little while. I'm just keeping an eye on things.
Yep. Like I said, guys, make sure you're following Paul and keeping your eye out on accessibility. Yes, he will keep us in the know on what is on the go. Alrighty, let's get into another few topics here before we check in with Axel. Let's see here. Let's just quickly talk about Xbox and the idea of toying with the new haptic feedback controller. We've heard Phil talk about this, and I think if there's one area right now where he seems to be a little bit I guess envious of where PlayStation's doing, is that the PlayStation 5, the PS5, the DualSense controller, it is a phenomenal controller. It might be Sony's best effort yet. You know, they've constantly, and I guess it's partly by design, because let's just face it, guys. I'm sorry, and I'm going to sound really biased here, but to me, the PlayStation controller's always taken a backseat to the Xbox controllers. And I think that's one of the reasons the Xbox controller hasn't changed that much, because they have a near flawless design, in my personal opinion. Again, that is my opinion. You're entitled to yours. But the consensus is, and I would say that a lot of third-party controller developers have also echoed that sentiment, because have you noticed that trend? When third-party controller companies copy controllers, most of the time they copy the Xbox design. The layout, the stick design, it almost feels and looks like Xbox controller, right? So I think that's a testament that Xbox pretty much has it right. But with saying that, there could have been things they could have added, things they could have done. And I know they've already got 2 versions of the Elite controller on the marketplace. I have the original Elite and I love it. The second one they say is even better. Some people have issues with it.
Way better
quality, but just talk about the controller itself. You know, like people do, the people that have bought the Elite, I generally hear is it's awesome. Outside of the odd person says, well, this broke or that broke or something else. But, you know, you're paying a hefty price. But the thing is, do you think that's where Xbox goes if they make an Elite 3? Like, how badly do we need a haptic feedback style controller similar to what the DualSense is doing for the PlayStation 5? Does anybody want to weigh in on that?
I just want to add something quick. I also want to mention that the Xbox controller design is so good that the U.S. military uses it.
Yep.
Like the Navy uses it, and
Yep.
I think the other branches also use it for a lot of their different things. So that's
Army uses
really
it.
So that really says something if our military uses that as one of their tools to work a lot of their equipment. So that's some bragging rights right there.
Yeah, that is some bragging rights. Like I said, it's good. I mean, I love the Xbox controller. I mean, and the rumble feedback in the controller, and it's kind of funny because am I wrong? But did not the Xbox always kind of have some haptic feedback in their triggers? Like, I mean, Forza 7 used it, but it just seems like not a lot of games have used it, and that might be the difference. Like, it's a highlighted feature for PlayStation, but I just think it's kind of sort of been there in Xbox, maybe not to that extent, but. How do you feel about that? And do you think Xbox should come out, and will the price point be a deterrent? Because, like, do you change the controller that's in your box and make something completely new, or do you make that part of your Elite 3 becomes your new haptic feedback controller? Where do you stand on this? Axel, Paul, anybody?
Ooh, all right. I was saying in the chat, this is going to bring out my inner fanboy. So the biggest reason why I never bought a PlayStation is the controller. I hate that controller with a passion. If a hate for an inanimate object existed, that's what brought it out. Like, I never knew I could. The DualSense controller, the DualSense, I call it the cramp inducer, because that's what it did. Right? It was awful all the way around. Like, when I take my Xbox controller, you know, I can grab it, I can rest it, I can, you know, it has the Lord's way of designing things with the asymmetrical thumbsticks. You know, I mean, it has all that. Whereas the PlayStation controller, you know, I have to hold it down here because that's where the little handles were. I don't have a PlayStation controller in my office, sorry. And then I have to reach in and hit my thumbs with the dual sticks, and it's just... And then the trigger is not a trigger. Like, this is a trigger. There's a paddle. It's a paddle. Okay? It's not a trigger. There's just so much wrong with the DualSense. I couldn't even begin to tell you, like, PlayStation 4 might have the greatest games of all time, but it had the worst input of all time. Like, the fact that they redesigned it to look more like this in the PlayStation 5, and now everybody's all goo gaga over it, should tell you something about it. Now, with all that being said, let's get to the subject on hand, the haptics. So the Elite 2 has the rumble triggers, and they were showcased in Forza 7 and in... Whoa, Paul! Whoa, this is the morning show. What's going on over there? Okay, sorry. I lost my train of thought.
Got me off guard too for a minute. I was like, "Whoa!"
I just haven't been saying anything.
Okay, sorry. So the haptics, it had the rumble triggers, but it was only used on the Forza series, Horizon and 7, and it worked great. But more than the rumbling itself, I loved the back paddles, right? That were fully customizable. To me, when this controller, the new Xbox controller came out, I was actually a little disappointed that didn't become standard. Rumble, you can turn it on and off. Not everybody likes Rumble, all this other stuff. It's neat stuff. And, if Xbox made Rumble trigger standard, and if they made, if they updated their Rumble mortars to something more like the DualSense have, because the DualSense has more of a, more like a cylinder design style of Rumble feature instead of the weighted style rotation trigger Rumble style, I think that would be great. But with all that being said, do I need all these features to experience a game? No. Does it help with immersion? Yes. I will say yes, because on Sea of Thieves, when I play, I rely on the Rumble to tell me what's going on, or I use the Rumble to help me discern what's going on. And so it can't be bad, and it's not going to be bad if Xbox decides to copy some DualSense features. Why not? Everybody does it. Here's my Nintendo Pro controller. It copied the Lord's controller. Yeah. The new DualSense copied this design, and it's supposed to be so much better. And this is a copy. What's that saying that imitation is the best form of flattery kind of industry. Everybody copies everybody. This whole this person copies, this person innovates. You can say that about everybody. Every single console maker does that. So if Xbox adds some DualSense features, some haptic features to their controller, I'm all for it. I'm not against it as long as they keep this general design the same.
If they should do it theoretically, and I could definitely see something happening, do you think that's where we're going to see it? Do you think it's going to be in the Elite version 3, or do you think they may even change up the standard control pad at some point? Because obviously that's going to add price to the whole kit and that sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons Xbox was able to keep the Series X and S controllers down into the same price ranges, because they didn't really add a lot to it. They improved it, and they added, of course, the share button, which, yes, we get it is kind of a blatant copy off of PlayStation. It's one of the few times where Xbox has sort of copied something, but I've said this before. Again, when the Xbox One came out, part of the reason there was no share button, as they say, in the controller, and people don't seem to get this, is because the Xbox was supposed to all come with Kinect. And because people complained about it, you didn't need the share button because you just got Xbox. Capture that. That was how easy it was to record that. And then, of course, people bitched and whined and blah, 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 and the Kinect went out. And there you go.
Still had it. It wasn't as intuitive as the new one, but you could, I think you're supposed to, double tap the X button, and it was supposed to do it. But it's definitely better now, but, I mean, you had the option. It's just...
Yeah, and then with the Elite controllers, you could bind you can bind a button specifically to record and to capture. But I think that they should do it to the regular controller. If you're going to do something like that, you should do it to the regular controller, and I'll tell you why. It's so that it becomes standard instead of becoming a feature. So like we were talking about, the Rumble triggers were a thing and only the Forza games, and only the Forza games from first party. Gears 5 didn't use it. Yeah, came after Forza. Anything else that came, Wasteland 3 didn't use it. Nobody else used it.
And for those who didn't know, if you played Forza 7 with the controller and you had the options adjusted properly, you could literally feel the braking of the car. And if you went hard on one wheel or the other, you would feel that pull. You would feel the car pull to one side or the other with that controller. That's how cool it was. But again, it was a feature that was just totally was never really taken advantage of or even promoted that much.
Exactly. So if they're going to do this, they need to put it on the regular controller, in my opinion, so that it becomes standard across the industry.
An option to turn it on or off?
Absolutely.
Definitely, you have to have the option to turn it on or off. Seeing as how majority of the consumer base is going to have the standard controller over spending money on Elite or anything like that, it makes sense to have it in the standard. And I agree with a lot of things that Axel was saying, but one thing for me is I like Rumble, but it depends on the game. Some games are a lot more aggressive than others. And I've actually with the Series X, the rumble is way more aggressive than the Xbox One. So I've actually had to disable it on mine. I can't play with aggressive rumble. It causes a lot of pain in my hands, and it actually will shoot up into my shoulders and stuff. So I can't play with that. So I have to disable it. So I like the idea of having options for people who can take advantage of it, but they have to have the option to turn it off because I can't play with that. It's too painful.
You know, like I said, I had the PlayStation 5. I had the DualSense. Like I said, I think it is their best controller to date. I love the feel of it. It's a more refined PS4. And PS4 was a huge step up from PS3, right? But like I said, when you've already got a controller that's near perfect with the Xbox pad, you don't have, like I said, to reinvent the freaking wheel every time. People act as like, oh my God, like, well, Xbox just doesn't do anything. Well, I'm sorry, but when you've got a great controller design, why mess with it? Like, that's the thing. People finally get a feel that they like, you just improve it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, kudos to Sony on that, but I mean, you know, like the thing is, and we've always said this controller for Sony is only going to be successful if enough people take advantage of it. This is just going to be the hype thing for the first couple of games in the first party lineup, and third parties don't get behind it. What is the point? And to be honest with you, like some of it's kind of annoying. Like honestly, I don't want to be blowing into my controller to make shit move in a game. Like, this is just, you know, that's not my cup of tea. You know, I mean, it worked great. I get it. The whole purpose behind Astrobot was the fact that it showed off what the controller was technically capable of, and the level designs were literally done around that. But that's the exception and not the rule. Most people aren't going to design their games going, well, how can we make this level so that it feels like everything's on springs, or, you know, how many levels can we blow into this controller? You know what I mean? That sort of stuff. So
I find I can't really speak for the new DualSense because I've never used it, but like if I just look at the DualShocks, especially the DualShock 4, I found it to be very gimmicky. One of the things I absolutely hated was the speaker that was built in. I turned it off in the settings. I hated it. And then like their big thing with like the, you know, the different color lights or whatever. I'm like, it's cool, but you don't see it. You know, it's facing away from you. You're not seeing the light change color. So like, what's the point? You know,
why did you notice that in the revised version?
And it drains the battery.
Yeah, they put a little light through the top now, and if you have the current DualShock 4s, you can actually see the color of the light through the top of the touchpad.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may not have noticed that, but yeah, they did. That was one little.
I feel like how much time are you actually staring at your controller when you're playing? You know,
yeah, exactly.
So like,
you want to know what I hated the most, the absolute most out of the DualShock, or, you know, other than everything I just said, was the light on top, that light bar.
Yeah.
I put a piece of tape over it. Like, because it reflected off my screen. And, you know, so I got a PlayStation 4. I always get my PlayStations a generation back. So I finally got one. And I'm playing God of War. And all I see is this blue light just always on my screen. And it just drove me crazy. Like, if you want to torture somebody into insanity, that's the way to do it. You know, so yeah, I put a piece of tape over mine.
You can turn that down too.
I didn't like the touchpad that was also a button. Like they didn't really use it much, and majority of the games didn't even do anything with it. It was so I just seemed like it was just a wasted thing that, you know, on the controller.
Mm-hmm.
But you can play the guitar on The Last of Us.
Yeah,
you can do like that and play. This controller is like the bane of my existence, but this is the best one before they come with the DualSense. I don't have the 5 yet. I will get one eventually, but there's 2 or 3 things that they have never fixed that I just don't understand why. First is this. What is this? One should be here, one should be there. It's better for your wrist. When you're playing and both of them here, your wrist just hurt over time. But when you do this, it takes a little pressure off of it. And I think what it is, all right, we have this controller. Xbox has their controller. If we switch, we're going to look like now that we're saying Xbox has a better controller, which I understand. It's I also don't like how the handles are closer to a more of a 90-degree angle. When you have that angle, it puts more pressure on your wrist. Mm-hmm. So I don't have the biggest hands in the world. I don't have the smallest hands in the world. But when this feels like a little baby in my hand, I could do this with the whole controller. That's not good. My whole hand can fit around this whole controller. But they did make it lighter. It's fun to use the light bar. Like you said, you can turn this light bar down.
Yeah.
You can turn this light bar down.
Sounds like you turn it up.
Yeah. You
That's
can
Sony calling
this.
Scrub Nurse right now.
Yeah. So you can turn this down, but I don't see the need of, if you're playing God of War, it's blue. If you're playing Division, it's orange. If you're playing whatever game, it's changing. It's more of, we have some stuff on there that is cool that you can use one or two times. Same thing with the speaker. I see no need of that.
Well, if you had 4 people playing your PlayStation, it was nice because the controllers would light up different colors. So, like, an easy way to identify which is 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like back in the old days, just like you had to rely on your screen to tell you who it was, and then, hey, you got my controller, oh, you got mine. But I mean, how often does that happen? And then, of course, the other thing is, with all of these extra features, is the biggest question about controllers, and probably still one of the biggest areas or problematic areas for not just Xbox or PlayStation, but just all controllers in general, is the damn battery life. These things eat battery. The more shit you put in there, sorry, pardon my language, the more stuff, the faster those batteries drain. And 2 and 3 hours or 4 hours is not a lot in the spectrum of gaming. You're sitting down, you're right in the middle of it all, and you're either replacing the batteries or getting up to plug the cord in, et cetera, et cetera. That's all part of the equation too. So. And let me tell you guys what really drives. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, because I haven't had a chance to say anything yet. My thing with the haptics and all that is get the bugs worked out before we put it in the Xbox. Okay. Because those Sony controllers do have an issue. They have a limited lifetime of usability and all kinds of stuff that they need to work through. And maybe if Microsoft does adopt it, they can get some of that stuff to work. But don't take it as it is right now. It's, there's still too many little glitches within it.
Right. So for you, Paul, like obviously this is definitely, let's get your opinion, because you probably use over your span of time a lot of different controllers. And again, so what feels good to you? Because again, you've often talked about your range of movements and stuff like that. So what is better for you? And you have the adaptive controller as well, right?
Yep. I have it sitting right here, as a matter of fact.
When do you use yours? Like, do you use it for certain games only? Do you stick to your?
I only use it for certain games, and I'm actually waiting to get a kit so I can kind of kit it out a little bit better for me. My preferred controller is actually the Elite 2, which, as I've said before, due to a friend of mine taking it to the post office instead of UPS, I no longer have. So I've got to replace it, but 170 whatever bucks is a lot of money to be putting into a controller. So at this point, I may wait till the Elite 3 comes out. But the PlayStation can just stop showing it off. I'm gonna come over there and kick your ass.
It feels so good in my hand. Pause.
If we were gaming after dark, I'd be saying something totally different right now.
I think we all would.
But the PlayStation controllers have never been comfortable to me, mostly because of what Scrub Nurse just pointed out. Where especially where that left stick is, because my left hand cramps up when I try to keep my thumb in that position for an extended period of time. So that the Xbox controller has always been way more comfortable for me. So and the Elite 2, I mean, those little differences really do feel very different.
Yes, those subtle differences on the Elite 2. I've always said I don't see the need of buying the aftermarket third-party controllers until the Elite and the Elite 2 came out. And I know a lot of people with the Elite, they might have wanted it, but it was sold out, and it was always sold out, made it harder to get. But the version 2, what makes this one great also is the ability to change stuff up. Like, you can change your D-pads, you can change out your sticks, whether you want shorter ones, taller ones, you want some that are rounded versus not. one of the biggest things that I love on that is the adaptive triggers, where you can have a long pull versus a very short quick pull. If you're playing maybe a sports game or a shooter or whatever, you can change these up. Plus they have an app where you can do all your settings and set up, oh, I want this to mean this, like Axel was saying earlier. Oh, I can set this trigger right here to be my share button. I wouldn't
that
use
was the most useful thing for me. That was to be able to change up any of the buttons I had to was the most useful.
If it hurts your wrist to have, if you're playing a game and you don't want to have to reach for the Y button and take your finger off the stick, you can just put it on one of these that you're touching all the time. I think this was one of the greatest deals they can do. This thing feels great in your hand. And if they come out with Elite 3, which I don't think they need it, but like Axel was saying, if you put all of those features on this controller, you're cutting out too many people.
Yeah.
And then you're putting features in a game that only certain people will be able to use. And I think you're going to turn it in the opposite effect of a gimmick. You're going to have something, but say, oh, only if you have this thing are you worthy to use it. So I don't, even though it is elite controller, I don't think we should be elitist with the features.
I don't think they will. I don't think they would put all those functions in just the elite controller. Because, what else was I just lost track of what I was going to say. Crap, it's gone. It'll probably come back to me.
Like I said, I only have the Elite 1 and I love it. I don't know what the big difference is with the Elite 2. Obviously, there must be some improvements. I think they fixed the bumpers a little bit, did they not? Number 2.
Yeah, some of it was quality control too. We were having a lot of problems with the grips, and then on the bumpers, were giving out, and grips were failing.
Yep, the bumpers get. That's why I had to send mine in. The left bumper was giving out, and they basically opened up the replacement thing for everybody because they knew it was an issue for almost everybody.
Well, at $160 or whatever the heck they cost, this damn thing better be warranted.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, I know what I was going to say. If you're playing something like Forza and you're in a long race, you can actually take that trigger and lock it into the halfway position and basically not have to put your finger back on the trigger for the rest of the race if you're good at it.
It's
man. I didn't know that one.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with that controller. The way you can set out those button layouts is a big thing. And then you can have 3 presets already ready to go. Even there's nobody else controllers really doing stuff like that where you can just switch. Oh, I'm playing Forza now, boom, button, and it's ready to go. I think Phil, he has the PS5. He plays those games. I think it was more of something talking about it, saying the things that he likes and he admires. And when you're talking about something that is good, we might think that. I don't think they'll necessarily do it, but it also
I didn't get that from it. I didn't get what everybody else was getting from his comments.
I think he was just doing more of being complimentary. If you do it, yes, you can run the problem of having bugs, having problems, or having to raise the price on your consoles. Now, later on in a generation, yes, the consoles will go down, so you could kind of fit some more of that in there. When the technology is cheaper, yes, but like say going to a next console and putting those features in, maybe so, but I wouldn't fool with it, especially this generation. But like I said, I think it was more of a more complimentary tone about what Phil was saying on that subject.
Real quick, Newf, I will say one difference between the Elite 1 and the Elite 2. The Elite 2 is going to be patched if it hasn't already. For the low latency, no latency, like the Series X and Series S consoles. Yeah. And that is only coming to the Elite 2 and the newer controllers.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'll definitely take that.
Yeah, my audio jack on my Elite's a bit funky. Like when I plug a headset in, apparently, I don't know what happens, but I find people tend to always complain that, hey, Newf, we can hear a bit of an echo.
Yeah, the audio jacks on the controllers are probably the worst thing, and that's been for the whole generation and then some. You know.
I mean, obviously, yes. If I use my wireless one, which obviously, that voids that sort of stuff, my wireless headset. But when I'm using a wired headset, I often get that complaint. So there must be something wrong inside the jack somewhere. Yeah. So, and I'll just end up with saying the one thing that really annoys me, though, overall, with the way things have gone, is that Xbox has come out and innovated in so many different ways and gets no credit for it. Often gets torn down, like I said, and we'll go back to the Kinect, right? Like especially the Kinect on the Xbox One, I think was a phenomenal little device. It should have been very successful, but people moaned and whined and complained and blah blah blah, and then it kind of went the way of the dodo bird, so to speak. But and the funny part is now that Kinect went out, how many companies and competitors, not just the video game ones, have basically used very similar technology to that. I mean, heck, if you got an Alexa or whatever the hell they are in your house, that's basically a damn Kinect right there. But exactly, Microsoft started it first, and everybody complained about it. Oh, you wouldn't use that stuff, and oh, the FBI is spying on you, and oh, all this crap. And your damn cell phones use the tech, and the stuff. These things use your tech. But and even Sony with their camera afterwards used the same damn thing. They did the thing with the controller and stuff, and it did the motion movements and everything. And it's like, oh man. But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. It just sucks. It's like Microsoft does something, they get slammed, and then the competitors do it, and it's like, oh my god, it's amazing what these guys are doing. And you're just like, dude.
It's called avant-garde. When you do something that hadn't been done before, or something that is just weird to other people, it's weird, it's new, and you question why is it being done until everybody starts realizing it, and then it becomes the norm. Xbox, a lot of these choices that they've made starting 2013 till now, people are now doing it. DRM, putting your entertainment on your console, all these different things, stuff with the controller. They've been ahead. And then everybody complains about it. Everybody says this is horrible. And then all the companies start doing it later. And when the other companies start doing it, their fan bases and everybody, they're used to complaining about it. Now they deal with it, and then they go, oh, okay, it's not that bad. People are scared of change. We are built as humans to be comfortable in what we're doing right now. When you insert change, no matter what it is, people freak out. If you wore khaki cargo shorts in the 90s your whole life, and then when 2000s come and everybody goes, you're still wearing cargo shorts, nobody wears that anymore, wear these flat front, no pleat shorts. You go, well, I love my cargo shorts. I can put everything in my I got all these pockets, and leave it.
Damn straight. I loved all those pockets.
Yeah. Just
cargo shorts were the best
thing
ever made, man. I miss them so much.
I have one pair that hadn't fallen apart yet, and it's more wearing around the house. But sometimes you got to move with the times, because it's better. You're used to, oh, this was so good for me, and you miss out on all the new stuff that makes life a whole lot better.
One of the trade-offs to being the innovator is if you're the first one doing something, you don't have anyone else to reference, so you're going to be the one that has to go through all the mistakes first. So when everybody else comes and copies you, they don't make those mistakes, so then they're not going to be critiqued as harshly.
Shout out to Apple. Yeah.
I'm sure when the first car had power windows, somebody was like, who needs this crap? I can roll my windows down. And now if you had to go back to a roll down window and you had to get that thing, you'd be like, what the heck is this thing?
Oh yeah. It's just one of those things when you're that far ahead, and you're looking over the horizon, and you don't have anybody to look with you. You're telling them all of this stuff is right over the edge. Nobody believes you because nobody else sees it. So it takes people coming along with you on that ride, and you just got to bring folks kicking and dragging along with you a lot of times. So it just so happens that it's happened to Microsoft several times in the same generation, and it's given them quote unquote bad press, but now other companies are doing the same thing.
Yo, Paul, look who's in the chat. I'll give you the chance to say it.
Joe Dunmore, welcome.
Oh yeah.
Coolcat Terri, what do you think about the DualSense features on the Xbox controller?
Like I said, for me, they're just gimmicks, and I'm not going to be paying attention to them. I don't care about lights. I'm not looking at my controller. I don't care about a lot of the other stuff because, like I said, when it comes to like rumbles and stuff, I have to disable it because of my hands. I can't do it. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if people want it, let them have it. I personally am not going to use any of it. So.
Roger. You know, somebody in the chat, I believe it was, who was it? He said that we were talking about speakers in the controllers. You know, the Wii had it, the DualShock has them, the DualSense has it. And I'm just thinking to myself, wait, didn't PlayStation advertise some sort of Pulse 3D headset? How are you going to hear the speaker in your controller with Pulse 3D on? It kind of defeats the feature, don't you think?
It's for those people who play Call of Duty and these other games with no headset. And they would sit there and you would have people speaking through your TV speakers coming back at you, and you're sitting there yelling at the same time. And now you got this little speaker that you can use without having your headset. You could talk like you normally do holding the controller. They can hear you, and then you can hear them coming back through your
that
TV.
mic was so crappy though. That mic was so crappy.
Hey, Newf, you had a PS5. Was that actually a usable feature? That speaker and microphone in the controller?
I never use it. Like I always had a headset on and stuff like that. So there's a lot of features I probably never fully use. I mean, obviously I had, Ratchet and Clank used the haptic feedbacks with some of the guns and different things. And again, you had the option to turn it up or turn it down. For some people, that's kind of unique, but at the same time, I found it more annoying for shooters because you have your constant, that trigger bouncing back at you. Yeah, I mean, it was, because like even when you did like the flamethrower, you could feel that like almost like it was a little more tension on the flamethrower and stuff. So, like I said, I think it's cool and it does add the immersion. I get where they're going with it, and I'm not against it whatsoever. Again, as long as you always have the options to turn it on, turn it off, turn it up, turn it down. The whole blowing thing, that would certainly be a little bit more annoying for a lot of games, and certainly with the whole COVID thing, that seemed almost like a very odd choice, at least for that particular year. Blowing some germs. Can you imagine buying a used controller now? Just to think about like,
Can we not talk about blowing controllers? I'm not on Gaming After Dark. I can't say the shit I want to say.
It's specifically because of COVID, though, that I haven't bought a used controller in a long time. Like, I have to get them new now because, since the pandemic happened, I'm like, I don't trust nobody. I don't believe nobody.
Oh my God. Man, especially used Wii the Switch controllers. Oh my God, they are just filled with particles.
Yes, no way.
and one last thing, I don't know how quick we're gonna get. If they ever put this in design labs, it's over with. You put this in design labs, you got me. I just purchased. I just purchased one because I won $100 off Boom Show. They had a little giveaway, and I won. I had already made about like 15 different controllers in design lab, and I went on ahead and purchased one to match up with my my gamer pick. But you put the Elite V2 in design labs, you're making more money. You're just going to make more money.
For the one more comment for like the was it the DualShock 4 for the speaker, the final straw for when I disabled it was when I tried playing Warframe, and in Warframe you had the characters on whether you wear a headset or watching the TV, your game sounds would come through that, but then they had key points where the characters would talk kind of like through an intercom, and they cut it. They put that explicitly through your controller, so I could never hear what they were saying.
Oh,
so
hell no!
So I'm like, it would be like you hear stuff, And then it moves over here. I'm like, I can't really hear. It's like a whisper. Then it goes back over here. I'm like, I'm missing like over half of the conversation. I was getting livid. So I went into the settings on the PlayStation and turned that crap off. I was like, never again. Worst feature ever.
Yeah, worthless to me.
Something that my DualShock. I mean, still speaking of DualShock, I did find it kind of unique. Like if a cops were on the radio or something like that, and it sounded like they were literally on a CB speaker, and various people, like sometimes you play like a horror game, the phone would ring, and the phone would ring through the actual controller, like you know, and because of like the echo-ish feature stuff, like sometimes it actually did seem cool. Like at the end of the day, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't sit there and gripe about it, but you kind of go, well, that's kind of cool, that's kind of neat, you know what I mean? And you know, so you know, you applaud some of the ingenuity and stuff. At the end of the day, again, a lot of it really depends on how much it is featured, how much it is used. I mean, I don't take away from them for trying something new and trying different features. And at least with the DualShock and the DualSense, a lot of that stuff is built in right out of the box. It's not an extra accessory you have to buy. And that's always been one of the downsides of any peripheral, is that when you have to go out and buy something new to enjoy a feature, then it always becomes more of a crutch. You know, when it's built into the thing that everybody has, it's easier for the developers to implement it, whether they do or they don't. But when it's in every single box, which is what Kinect was intended to be, is be in every single box, then developers would have used it more. But when they took it out and then they gave people that option right off the bat, you say, yeah, this is definitely going to go downhill because people are going to go for the cheaper console. Perhaps I think at the end of the day, Microsoft's biggest mistake there is they should have sucked up the cost and just swallowed it on the Xbox One and just said, you know what, we're sticking with Kinect. It's going to be in every box. We'll eat the cost. The console is going to be the same as our competitor. It could have been, yes, a little bit nastier at the start, but I think the Kinect would have definitely survived a much better fate.
I loved the Kinect so much, man. I was not a Kinect hater. Everybody was arguments against the Kinect. I was like, those are completely invalid arguments. If you know how spyware works, and you know some more of the hacking things work, it's very hard to hack an entire specific system. Like you have to be someone that's super important to be hacked specifically. And I hate to say it, but ain't nobody going to hack me. I'm not important enough and I don't make enough money. Right. And hacking an entire network is more plausible than hacking in a person.
And if you're worried about the government spying on you,
they're spying on you already.
They are. Do you have one of these?
No, man. I got a vaccine. What are you talking about?
You have one of these?
Bill Gates, help me out here, man.
Yeah. You know how many people I know who, they put tape over the camera on the Kinect because they were worried, somebody was going to be watching. I'm like, who are you that anybody would give two shits?
Yeah.
The thing is they've already owned laptops for years and they weren't worried about people hacking that camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
The moment that somebody at Xbox sees me walking across my living room naked is the moment they go, oh God, I'm never going back there again.
This was not a good idea.
We all inadvertently spied on Paul and we were all scarred.
Right.
Well, this is a great conversation. This is one of those that went a little bit longer than I thought, but it's an interesting thing, and we'll see what happens. I don't think it'll be a big reality. We're pretty happy with where we're at right now, and I'm happy for people, like I said, on PlayStation that can enjoy the dual. I think it is an ingenious, awesome little controller. They've addressed many of the issues that they had with the one before, so I think it's great, man. Like it's good that everybody's doing something different and trying stuff out. At the end of the day, gamers are winners. You don't use it, you lose it. It's the old mantra that often happens too, but I love my Xbox controllers. Keep up the good work, and that design lab, that stuff is awesome. Great to see so many people jumping in on that and showing off their personality and stuff through control. I think that's amazing, and to be able to put like your gamer tag or like a little thing on it, that was just that's just a great touch.
I saw the greatest thing on Design Labs this morning on Twitter. Somebody made an Xbox controller for their girlfriend, and on the bottom it said "Marry me." This guy won the internet. He's a genius. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was awesome.
That was great.
Caper's asking if I'm wearing pants. It's not that kind of show, Caper.
Unless you get the one that says divorce.
Yeah, we don't want that
shows up. You play too much games. Yeah, we're divorced. Oh my god.
Why don't you keep her? You like her more than me. Anyways,
great stuff. Well, how about you, Axel? Let's kind of wrap up the show. Do you have anything xCloud related this morning? I mean, obviously you showed off the fact that Dead Store was running on there, which was pretty impressive earlier.
Yeah, no, I just I know that that's an ignored feature that everybody has. They don't. If you have a Xbox Series console, they do have server grade processors in them, so they can be a server, and you can stream directly through Wi-Fi or through 5G to your mobile device. And it will not do it with the Game Pass app. It has to use the Xbox app. So I know I struggled. I was like, where is this? Where is this? I struggled to find it for like a good 2 days. It is using the Xbox app. But no, I have nothing.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. Let's wrap the show and let's get to the outros. Again, guys, Eternal Shaddai sends his regards. He couldn't be with us today, but we'll have him back again next week. So let's start from the bottom and work our way back to the top. So we'll have Scrubners up first, sir. Let people know where they can catch up with you and check out anything that you are doing.
Yeah, Scrubners 3 on Twitter. You can check me out. My gamer tag is going to be all caps Scrub space Nurse. On my Twitch, it is Scrub_Nurse. And then I also will have that same stream on Facebook with a group of my friends called the Bayou Elite. So I will be playing up a bunch of different games coming up soon. A couple of our guys, we were having problems with streaming, so we're going to be all back and playing again. Don't know which games yet, but we love to play multiplayer. So I'm just glad to see everybody in the chat. We made it to 10 episodes already. It seems like we just started and it's only going to get better, hopefully. I mean, look, 10th episode, we already got a man with his shirt off, so you can't beat that. I mean, keep watching. You'll never know what happens next. So like I always say, play your games. Have fun. Don't be a jerk. Every now and then go outside and tell somebody you love them. Glad y'all came out. Appreciate it, guys.
Here you go. Give this man a follow. We'll see you back here next Sunday. Next up, we've got Axel 1324.
Yes. All right. You can find me on YouTube and on Twitch, Axel 1324 Gaming. No space. All one word. I'm on Twitch. I stream every Saturday, and I think I'm going to bring up my streaming a little more. I am dropping a new Q&A video that I did with Newf and Dreadpool tomorrow, so make sure you stay on my YouTube for that. You can also find me on Twitter and on Xbox, just Axel1324, how you see it on the screen. And yeah, this is 10 episodes. We've done 2 giveaway episodes, and then, the topless episode today. And yeah, guys, just, watch where you're going. Watch out for those trees. And we will catch you guys next time.
All right, let's let Paul roll on out the way he rolled on in. Paul, let people know where they can catch up with you and what you got going down, sir.
You can find me on the Twitter at Cerebral Paul 1 and on YouTube it's Cerebral Paul. Like I said, my Twitch channel is pretty much shut down. I'm doing everything on YouTube now, so please go over to YouTube if you only have me on Twitch and grab it over there. I was having trouble with the mobile side of Twitch, and I don't want to deal with it right now because I've got too many other things to worry about. So, yeah, please go over there. And you can find me on Xbox at Cerebral Paul 921. And that's about it for me. Yeah, so there you go. Everybody have a great week. And thank you, Pong Soul, for joining us. Even if you're late, enjoy the show when you get a chance to listen to it.
And she wears the beanie, but she's not a meanie. It's our resident queenie. We are talking to Cerebral, Coolcat Terri. Coolcat Terri. Let people know. Let people know where they can catch up with you, Coolcat.
Well, I definitely can be mean. All right, I definitely can. I'm referred to as the Rage Queen on another show, so you're not getting that side of me. So you guys are lucky. All right, so you guys can go ahead and you can catch me over on Twitter at Coolcat_Terri. Go ahead and check it. I'm also on Instagram and other places. Same as my gamer tag. It's all Coolcat Terri. So you go ahead and you can check me there. I have my own podcast called Just a Glimpse. You can go ahead and listen to that on Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts, or you can go to that link right there, which is the official website I got for it. And then I do stream on Twitch as well. So if you ever just want to come hang out, interact with me, or play a game, you can come over there and check that out. I play mostly RPGs or racing type games. Pretty much, yeah, RPGs or anything that has to do with vehicles. You can go ahead and you can catch that out. You guys are great. And yeah, thank you guys so much for always tuning in to listen to us. You guys are awesome.
And you guys always know where to find me. That's in the gutter. And on Tuesday nights, so Gaming After Dark, Middle-Aged Game Guy, Titan, Drago, right back here with this amazing crew next Sunday once again as we hit our 11th episode next week. So thank you guys so much. Catch me on Xbox. It's pretty much Newf Nukem everywhere, but it's Newf Nukem 76 on PlayStation. I used to have Newf Nukem, but couldn't remember my damn account information, so I ended up having to create another handle over there. So add the 76 if it's on PlayStation and we're good to go. I don't even have a PlayStation Plus account right now, which kind of sucks. That means I can't even play multiplayer. Hey, it is what it is, baby. It is what it is. Spend most of my time on Xbox anyway. And don't forget, community game nights will hopefully be back again next week with another selection of fantastic games. I hope to see a great turnout there, but that's about it for us. Thanks for all the support. Caper Grant, if you want to play that Gears of War Ultimate Edition, man, let me know when you got a time and a place, and we will make some space. Dragon Wolf, what is happening? Yobi Dren, thanks for being here. Dragonheart Yobi, she says, yeah, she rages a lot on Twitch apparently. So good stuff right there. Dan the Man, Casket Repair, Doggy Dog, Joe Dunmore, Kay Asante, thanks for Griggity for showing up today, guys. Make sure, like I said, you go check out Dirt Griggity and his podcast, We Bleed Green, on Mondays. They're a great crew. So many awesome people in this community. Lady Fox for hanging out with us today. Hey, Pong Soul is here, our brother from another mother. What is going on? Don't forget to check those guys out. Him and Steel Rain with the Living Split Screen Saturday morning. So they do the same thing bright and early as we do, only they run a two-man crew. That's right. And they do a great job over there, always bringing some positivity and fun stuff. Crispy Rambo, the list goes on, guys. You are fantastic. Thanks for being here again. We're going to do some giveaways coming up soon. I can feel that. Going to try to line up some nice prizes to give away. Might be some merch. Maybe, we'll have to start doing some of this. Maybe some merch giveaways. Hopefully I can maybe get some, some Good Morning Xbox merch done up as well. That would be nice. Something unique, right? Instead of just games that people can kind of get anywhere, but all that stuff. So, and yeah, the Dreadpool, man, you are welcome. We're always great to have you, man. You're always a great supporter, and that's why you deserve the shout out. So thank you for that. And we'll catch you soon. And next week, someone else will have a community member spotlight. I'm always curious to see who people pick. So good stuff. But anyway, until next Sunday, you guys all have yourself a great day. Go play some games. I'm going to go back and try to keep playing the medium. I'm actually enjoying that. So let's we'll catch you all.
The medium's awesome. I still need to finish that. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It's actually a pretty good game. I actually like it. Take care, guys. Have a great day.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.